Rooster, why are the Caps so scorching hot on the road but mediocre at Capital One Arena? I know the atmosphere there is great. I know the crowd gets into the games. What is it? What is this disconnect between them playing so well on the road and just kind of ho-hum at home?
I don't think anybody has an answer, Cakes. They're 6-8 over the last two the last 2 years combined at Capital One Arena in the Stanley Cup playoffs at home. 3-4 this year, 3-4 last year. In all the Stanley Cup playoff home games that they had. I mean, that's just incredible. Now, if you look across the board at the numbers, and I put this in my blog, I'm not sure if it's up yet, and this is year are now like 30. I want to say it's 32 and 39 at home. So it's a league-wide epidemic. But for the Capitals, it's been a couple of years now where they just have not played well at home. The thing that I fear, and the thing that I feared going into last night, and it was the thing that I feared going into these playoffs, is too comfortable. You get a little too think, all right, things are going to happen. The crowd is going to save us. We're too, I guess, complacent or too feeling too good about themselves, maybe feeling a little too handling prosperity not exactly the way you should. You play with your hair on fire on the road. I won't forget what Evgeny Kuznetsov told us before the series. It was like, I like playing on the road. I don't really like playing at home. You know, I think he gets he gets a little rush out of it. And not that he played poorly last night. He had 12 shots on goal, but he got killed in the faceoff circle. So maybe there's something to that this team and him and others play just better when they're on the road and when they're getting booed and when there's not that comfortable surrounding and they know they don't have the crowd to bail them out.
All right, it's not a conscious thing. There's no question about it. I mean, they want to do their best. They want to try their best, and I'm sure, consciously they are. But it does seem to be a different level that you're seeing, a different product that you're seeing on the ice.
Yeah, because and last night, EB, I thought they had a pretty decent start. They came out, they outshot the Lightning 4-0 the first, 6-7 minutes of the game. Tampa didn't have a shot. I think it was actually the first 7 or 8 minutes of the game they didn't have a shot. But then once Tampa started feeling their oats a little bit, they got rolling. And before you know it, not only was it 1-0 on the scoreboard, it was 10-10 in terms of shots on goal. And I started to wonder, maybe this isn't going to go I had all hoped, and certainly if they don't stay out of the box. And again, that's ultimately the equalizer here. But then when they, even when it was 3-0, as bad as they had played, I didn't think they played poorly. As poorly offensively as 3-0 would indicate. I thought they had their opportunities, and then they got the Connolly goal. Great play by Niskanen at the point. Nice feed by Stevenson. There's 3-1. Then they're peppering Vasilevsky, and they're all over the place, and the crowd is back into it, and you're like, okay, they're going to do this. They're going to seize this momentum. This is what being at home is all about. And then, not before you know it, but just a couple of minutes later, they give up one of these weird kind of, how did that go? How did that happen? Loose puck off of, and before you know it, the air is just completely deflated. I mean, just so that's what happens when you're at home, is when you give up the type of goals that they gave up last night in the kind of situations that they gave up, 2 quick ones to make it 1-0 to 3-0, and then you got that momentum at 3-1, and then all of a sudden it's 4-1. Then it's really bad. It compounds the problem when you're at home and that stuff happens.
Talking to our Capitals insider, Chris Russell, he was at Game 3 last night at Capital One. A couple of things that we have talked about that could be different in Game 4. Kind of want your take on it. One being Nicklas Backstrom.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any new information, what you saw yesterday. And then number 2, the hit on Tom Wilson. If Tom Wilson delivered it on the Lightning player, he would be suspended.
Yep.
Is there any chance that you're going to see suspension for Anton Strawman.
Yeah, Tommy was not happy after the game, and neither should he. It was clearly boarding. They only called the minor. It should have been probably a major. It could have been a game misconduct. NHL player safety. I have no doubt we'll take a look at it. I'm going to have to, quite honestly, boys, I have not had a chance to look at Anton Strawman's, entire league discipline player history. He doesn't certainly have the track record that Tom Wilson has. So I wouldn't count on it in terms of a suspension. It was certainly Barry Trotz strongly indicated that not only does he want NHL player safety to look at it, but he feels that's in the form of a fine or it hurts the Capitals' cause that Wilson came in terms of discipline, that Wilson came back just a couple of shifts later. 1, 2, that that they only called a minor, that it wasn't a 5-minute major or something like that, game misconduct style. So that's what I'll say about that. I'll leave it in the hands of the NHL. I don't think a suspension is coming. I could be wrong. Certainly it warrants